to Cinemavino.
Hey guys.
Ahoy.
It's good to have you back. We've got Sean Jordan.
Hi.
Travis Bud.
Hey.
My name's Todd. We are at Shea Jordan here. Good stuff.
Back at the old Jordan household.
Exactly. It's good to be back.
Yeah. It's good to have you.
This is part 3 of our presidential series. So we're looking at the classic from the 70s, All the President's Men. We are drinking a white blend. So the reason why I picked this installment and the next installment will feature wines from California and Oregon, because apparently in the Lyndon Johnson administration, he decreed that all wines served at the White House would be American wines, unless there was a specific reason to switch to, the visiting head of state, like they had a special occasion.
It's a big departure from JFK.
Yeah.
He loved champagne.
He did. But LBJ wanted only American wines. So we picked 2 classic California and Oregon, a white and a red. So
if you were president, would you make changes like that?
No, I mean, I think it would be important to showcase good American wines, especially and branch out from California and Oregon and Washington and show some stuff, because there's some great wines from Michigan, upstate New York. I thought there's a couple good wineries from Missouri. So it's they're good wineries around the country that are not necessarily in the classic areas. So I would probably want to, especially if I had the budget that they did and the massive wine cellar and the 5-star chefs working, I'd want to branch out and get some different wines.
You got Texas wine country and
Llano, Escatado,
Braunsfels.
Mm-hmm.
There's News Braunsfels.
You got good wines in New Mexico. There's good stuff there. But yeah, there's good stuff just scattered around the country in different spots. I've heard.
So what is this one? This one's just an American blend.
This is the Conclusion winery. This is the Storyteller. It is a white blend. I scoured around the internet. I did not find a listing of the exact grapes that are in this, so we will just have to taste it and find out. It has kind of a Chardonnay color to it. I think it has kind of
has a little bit of that butteriness.
It has a little bit of that golden honey color.
A little oaky butter.
Mm-hmm. It does have a Chardonnay flavor to it for sure. What else is in there? I'm not sure. But yeah, it has that kind of oak barrel taste, especially on the finish. But it's got some that kind of apple, bright fruit, maybe even pear, a
little
pear.
citrusy, a little pear.
Yeah. So whatever this is, I mean, it's like when you can't quite identify the breed of a dog, but there's definitely some of that, this or that in there. You can tell this definitely has some Chardonnay in there somewhere.
So do I need to eat fruits and vegetables to be able to tell what these flavors are? Because you said peach, and I'm like, have I ever had a peach? I don't think so.
You never had a peach?
Just macaroni and cheese and hamburger buns and hot dogs.
Scissored weenies.
Yep.
Peaches are delicious.
I eat a peach for hours.
You just gotta get into it over
talking about pears.
But a drip.
Is this a peach or a pear? I mean, I'll take your word for either or.
This has a lot of pear to it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. It's nice though. I enjoy it.
Actually, no, I've had that pear wine.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. The you talking about the pear brandy with the pear in it?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to have that again sometime. That'd be a good Christmas time.
I don't love pears.
Really?
Yeah, they're too mealy.
Yeah. They're not for everybody, for sure.
That's why you turn them into brandy.
Although there's a super expensive Japanese pear that is supposed to be the best fruit in the world.
Really?
Yeah, it's super expensive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's funny. I mean, it's just so many things that come out of Japan like that are expensive and the finest in the world. I'm not thinking A5 Wagyu.
Yeah. I mean, they like to really curate one thing really, really well.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Radioactive lizards.
The A5 Wagyu of lizards.
Oh my God. Is there a Wagyu Godzilla cut? Because that's what I would like. I mean, it would probably be radioactive.
You would have to feed and raise a Godzilla,
but it would also
very specific.
But no, if you
had a Wagyu kaiju.
Yeah, a Wagyu.
Oh my God.
But it would
A5
have
kaiju.
It would have regenerator G1, so it would keep regenerating.
You're just cutting off a little bit of tail.
Yeah. I wonder if it would grow inside you though. Okay. Now I want it.
Interesting. I'm so full all the time.
I want Godzilla to grow inside me.
There's a sense I never thought would pop up in this podcast.
You can cut off little bits of Godzilla to create smaller Godzillas.
Ooh, have you ever seen Shin Godzilla?
No.
Wow. That's coming to a podcast near you.
Yeah. So yeah,
is that when they just take out a Shin and then a Shin creates another Godzilla?
I don't know. Shin, I think, is the dynasty. that they're in at that time? Because there's Showa Godzilla series, and there's the High Sea series, and then there's the...
I love High Sea.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Too mealy.
Too mealy.
Then there's the Millennium or the Millennium.
Japan makes a really good High Sea.
It's A5. So yeah, this is about $20. It's a nice, affordable white wine. If you're into kind of mid to full body red or whites, sorry, I would say give it a shot. So not my taste. I mean, always be honest about stuff like that. But
well, and there's a big stigma against like really buttery shards.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a nice middle ground.
Yeah.
If you like a shard that's a little buttery.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you could do this with some seafood. Anything you have butter sauce with, this would, I think, match up pretty well.
Yeah.
So
I'm no, white aficionado, but I enjoy it.
Yeah. It goes down.
I have a palate for it.
I think you're a white aficionado.
So we're going to talk about All the President's Men. This was released April 9th, 1976. Grossed $71 million against a $9 million budget. This is directed by Alan Pakula, who produced To Kill a Mockingbird.
Kill a Mockingbird. Damn. I wasn't trying to get there. Bam. Say he produced To Kill a Mockingbird.
You got to be quick out of the gate.
Well,
you got to hit the ground running.
Pacula?
Mm-hmm. Alan J. Pakula.
Is he a count?
I like that. I never thought about that. I was thinking about Chocula.
It's
cereal.
me, Pacula.
It's like Alan Chocula. It makes me wish my last name's Chocula. So, but I think Todd Chocula would be kind of a goob. So
That'd be a great name. Are you kidding me?
I think Todd's kind of a goob.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's the Todd part that throws off the Chocula.
Yeah. Todd will instantly stain any last.
Chocula's doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chocolate can't get the name out of the knob. So, yeah. This was written by William Golden, who won an Oscar. And this is regarded as one of the great screenplays ever written. This is one of those screenplays.
Nominated for like 8 Oscars, wasn't it?
Quite a few, yeah. This is one of those screenplays that they teach in like film school. It's so well written. This is based on the landmark book by Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, which details their Pulitzer Prize winning investigation of the Watergate scandal. Their investigation has been called the greatest act of investigative journalism ever in history.
So far.
So far.
Yeah.
That you know of.
That we know of. There could be some journalism that's under the radar nobody knows about. But Robert Redford appears as Bob Woodward. Dustin Hoffman is Carl Bernstein. Yeah, 8 Academy Awards, like you said, including Best Picture, Best Director. It won for Goldman's screenplay and for Jason Robards, who plays Washington Post editor Ben Bradley, which, they said was a deceptively difficult role to play because it's like, Bradley was one of those guys who he was the man, and you have to like give off like casual, like commanding presence. Basically, you have to be, a dominant personality, but also very laid back with it. Like smooth.
I mean, I think he did that pretty well when Hoffman was like, "God damn it, we have," and he's just like looks at him and like stops him right in his tracks.
Yeah, people are kind of scared of him.
Yeah,
I think we all bring that kind of energy to the podcast.
I think so too.
Yeah,
it adds a lot of tension between the three of us now.
Yeah,
like that.
A lot of machismo in this room.
Yeah, a lot of energy.
That's right.
A lot of testosterone.
That's right. A lot of alpha energy.
a lot of testes.
Yeah. There's 6 that we know of. The film opens on the Watergate burglary, the break-in, which was filmed at the actual Watergate Hotel.
Ooh.
On location. And they use the actual guard who finds the tape over the door and calls it in. That's played by the actual guard that did that.
Was it duct tape that was on there? Because didn't we watch, what was it, in Frost Nixon? We're like, man, this whole thing was toppled by like a piece of duct tape. Mm-hmm. Was that one of the movies we watched recently, or did I watch?
That's a famous, it's been in a couple of movies. I mean, it was even in the movie Dick with Kirsten Dunst and Michelle Williams or whatever, like how they find tape on the door of the Watergate and yada yada. But there's a lot of that stuff. They duplicated the Washington Post office, like down to what kind of paper they used and the typewriters and stuff. I mean, they didn't film on location because I guess they had problems with the people that worked there looking at the camera and stuff. They couldn't do that. So they built a duplicate of that location.
Stupid fucking writers can't
amateurs
be on screen.
Just amateurs.
Amateurs.
But yeah, from there we follow Woodward and Bernstein all the way from the beginning of their investigation until the story actually breaks at the end of it. So this includes scenes of a parking garage meet with a informant codenamed Deep Throat. And we would later find out was the deputy director of the FBI, a guy named Mark Felt. Up until that point, it was one of the biggest kept secrets in American history of who Deep Throat was.
Mark Felt?
Mark Felt. And it's funny because for a while there was speculation because Diane Sawyer was depicted in Frost Nixon. There was big speculation that she was Deep Throat and feeding them information. But yeah, then this guy had a deathbed thing of like, no, he was Deep Throat. Like, I like the Pavlovian reaction we got over there. It's nice. But yeah, they discover that
take a drink every time somebody says Deep Throat.
They discovered that hundreds of thousands and eventually millions of dollars being funneled through a slush fund being managed by the Committee to Re-elect the President, also known as CREEP, to basically finance
on brand.
Wait, it was
acronym?
What?
Yeah.
What was the acronym?
CREEP.
Yeah, it's a committee to re-elect the president. It was known as CREEP.
They kept saying that, and I was like, I should look this up later. And I didn't catch it.
Well, they kept saying it really subtly, and then like I finally, about halfway through the movie, I was like, wait, CREEP is Committee to Re-elect the President.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so basically they were
Could
using...
have been crepe.
Yeah, which was delicious.
Yeah.
But I'll be damned. They're going to ruin the crepes for me.
Yeah.
But basically this slush fund they were financing kind of an organized crime ring out of the Oval Office, espionage, sabotage, blackmail, extortion, all kinds of stuff.
Slush fund, not as delicious as it sounds.
Yeah, especially when there are crepes involved.
Well, we talked about it a little bit with Frost Nixon, but like Nixon was a super corrupt guy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Spiro Agnew was hugely corrupt. He took bribes left and right. And this was just their MO.
Yeah.
Was just take money, do whatever you want with it, and just line the pockets of whoever you need to.
I mean, Spiro Agnew resigned for bribery, stuff that was unrelated to this. He had his own special thing going on.
They had to take down Agnew so that they could impeach Nixon, because they knew that if they impeached Nixon, Agnew was the next guy up. And they basically used Agnew as a shield to prevent Nixon from getting impeached in his first term.
Yeah.
So they were able to take him down. By doing that, they were able to get Nixon.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Which is how Ford became the next president. Because they picked Ford. They were like, they basically knew they were going to be picking the next president when they picked him as the VP nominee.
And he had a reputation as a very honest politician. So like they had to have somebody in there who they could trust to balance out the disgrace of Nixon and Agnew.
Yeah.
So, had you guys hadn't seen this movie before?
No.
And so for me, this is, I saw this as a kid, obviously, and we watched.
Oh, see it in theaters?
And it's funny how close this was to.
You old fuck.
I remember like I had to kind of seek this out on VHS to rent it, but we watched this.
Not old, just nerd.
Yeah. We watched this at TU. I did a crime through film class, and this is one of the ones that depicted the political crime. And that's where I really got a better appreciation of going back to watch it then. So this is a great movie. My wife and I have watched it several times since we've been married. So, I appreciate it. Again, this will be, I'm curious. This is a classic. You guys have seen it for the first time. So sometimes it's different seeing it the first time than when, for me, going back and seeing it probably the sixth or seventh time. So,
what was the baseball movie we watched with Redford?
Natural.
The Natural.
Mm-hmm.
Where does The Natural fall compared to this movie?
I mean, this was like
timeline wise,
almost 10 years later, like The Natural.
The Natural was 10 years later.
Yeah.
And yet Robert Redford was playing a guy younger than who he was playing in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking pieces. God, that made me mad. Still makes me mad.
Yeah. It's funny. We'll have to watch movies sometime that touch off a nerve in us. I think that'd be funny to like confront those demons.
Oh, Ang Lee's Hulk?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to watch it again.
With Eric Bana?
No, thank you.
And Ben Affleck's Reindeer Games. Awful.
I never saw it.
He was the man in Reindeer Games.
No, he's the bomb at Phantoms.
Oh, bomb and Phantoms, yeah.
Might have been good in Reindeer Games too. That might be a quote.
They talk about Reindeer Games in that movie.
Do they?
Yeah.
So, we'll start with you, Mr. Poots. What'd you think?
I give this a 9. I had never seen it before. You guys are clearly more of the presidential history nerds. I knew nothing about Watergate, really, other than Forrest Gump. I think that was like all of my knowledge.
He meets Nixon in that, doesn't he?
Yeah. Don't they see
Didn't he call like the front desk or something at the Watergate?
Yeah,
Something
I think
that.
so.
Yeah.
I think he called. Yeah.
Does he like call and say there's somebody in a building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's been a while, but anyway, yeah, I give this a 9. It was riveting. It took a subject I didn't give a shit about and made me interested in it. I didn't actually follow up with anything I was going to look up, after the movie. I was like, oh, okay, I should look at it like Creep.
Yeah.
But it did put it in a interesting, it's like an after action report, right? Because you already know kind of what happens. And so this is just showing you, I really kept thinking, I was like, these guys need a murder board. So they have all the,
they need a board with strings.
And then I need a murder board. I don't know what I need it for, but I want one.
Yeah.
I need a big bulletin board and one that I can flip backwards and be
your birthday's coming up.
Ooh, yeah.
They had one at Frost Nixon. Then they had the big board of like people where he starts researching, and then there's names up there that he's trying to tie together.
You got to have a murder board.
Yeah.
You get the Post-it notes, stick them up there.
Mm-hmm.
That just must feel like really satisfying.
Yeah.
You get like a really good Sharpie.
You get a really good one. You put someone's name and then you like pin it really aggressively.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you have it color coded too. So you have like, oh, I've got a green Sharpie, and this correlates to all this other information, gives you a timeline, and you just, I don't have any murders to catch, but if I did, I would need a board.
Yeah. You should be a private eye.
Yeah. I could see that.
I should be a private something.
Brother Seamus.
But I loved it. It was like an after action report. It showed you their detective story of how they were tracking everything down until Robert Redford was finally like, look, man, we got nothing. Just fucking tell us. Like, quit pussyfooting around.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Stop playing games and tell us what the fuck happened.
I'm not playing games, Senator. Watch this. Let's go. Like, man, you could have saved us months and months if you would have given me all this information.
Yeah, that's all it took.
Like
it's just like, all right, here's what's happening.
You dumb fucks. All right, fine. I will give you the plot.
Yeah.
It's like, I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. If Dungeon Master is giving you all the clues and stuff and you're still not getting it, they're like, fuck, I need to throw these dumb fucks a bone so that we can move the plot forward. That's all that Deep Throat was doing. He was like, you guys are dumb. And I follow the money. But I thought Robert Redford was great. I loved Dustin Hoffman in this. And I was seeing people I recognized all over the place, but I couldn't, name them.
Cool.
I give this a 9. It was lovely. I love the frenetic pace of the newsroom. And they also, I don't know if they did a split screen, but in the background of the one shot where Robert Redford is on the phone and going through all these different phone calls and stuff, and a lot of long take.
Yeah. That was one take.
Was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But they had something going on in the background where everybody was running over and looking at the TV like, oh my God, get over here. I was like trying to pay attention to him, but I was like, oh shit, whatever he's talking about is probably on the news right now. He probably needs, and then they just yada-yada'd and went right past it.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting because he was crisp in the foreground and they were fuzzy in the background, or I guess the gal over his shoulder was fuzzy, but then they were in focus in the far background.
Yeah.
And so I really thought like he was going to interact with him. I thought it was important. So I was paying attention to that too.
Yeah.
But I really liked all the really long takes in the newsroom. I liked the frenetic pace. It really reminded me of 1978, Superman with,
Superman.
The really long, camera move throughout the Daily Planet. This made a uninteresting topic that I had never heard of interesting to me. I give it a 9.
What would take it from a 9 to a 10?
If I give a shit more about Watergate, probably.
Oh.
I thought about giving it a 9.5 and I was like, can't do it.
Still, that's generous.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to give this one a 9 too for different reasons.
Fuck you.
I thought the acting was really good. Pace was great. Like you said, the cinematography was really interesting, really well done. I hated the fucking ending. The ending just ends.
Yeah.
It just like
That's
you
true.
you think, and I don't know if this is just me being tainted by like, my 2020 attention, span these days. But like, you get the big bombshell. You get like, okay, Deep Throat tells them everything. And then you're like, okay, ready for the big payoff. Here's the bomb. Here's the next shoe. It's going to fall.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, goes
it's like, it's a sad dribble of cum and no money shot.
And then you just, exactly. Thank you for lack of a better term. Yeah. You just get basically just like an epilogue through
the telex machine.
Yeah, through the telex machine. And I thought that was so disappointing. It was like you build up all this momentum and then it just falls off a cliff.
And I think that's from when I think the book came out like quickly in 74.
Well, and that was what I was going to say is like this movie came out 4 years after the events that this happened. Like this came
2 years. So
well, no, this happened in like 72.
Yeah.
And this movie came out in 76. So there was not a lot of time to like write a script and film.
Yeah.
Like they missed all of the major fallout of all of this, which was everything with Nixon, everything with Ford.
Yeah.
Like there was a ton of stuff that just went unaddressed.
Yeah. So yeah, they greenlit the film in 74, and then because the book came out in 74, then they greenlit the film in 74. They started filming in early 75. So I mean, this was very quick on the heels.
Yeah, like they filmed this like immediately after it happened, which feels like wait 2 years.
Yeah,
maybe get some better perspective on it.
I think that they took the opposite viewpoint of like, let's do it while it's still fresh.
Yeah, we got to do it while people care about it.
Yeah. And while we can get, like, for example, the people involved in it to come in and work as advisors. I mean, they had all those guys from the Washington Post, like, there, like, advising them about what to do and what was said and who.
Well, and it was based off of the book that they wrote, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought it was really interesting to see such a pure vision of what, like, journalism looked like back then and what the expectations of politics were back then and what passed for, like, a scandal.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, I feel like Watergate would have been kind of tame.
Yeah.
Like other than bugging, which is like, a huge thing.
Yeah.
Like everything else is just sort of run of the mill politics and scumduggery. Like, it's just
skullduggery.
Whatever.
I like scumduggery better.
Scumduggery works.
That's the thing.
I've never heard scumduggery.
It's just people being down in the muck,
Yeah.
Muck slinging.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's interesting to look back on it and see sort of the difference of what constituted a scandal then versus now.
Yeah.
What journalism looked like back then, how much people trusted journalists back then.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't think you could get a journalist to show up at your doorstep and be like, hey, we're from the Washington Post. You just get the door slammed in your face. Like people don't.
And they still did.
People don't respect journalism like they did back then. And I think this era of politics kind of was in a time when journalists were really respected a lot more and they could do a lot more than they can now.
Yeah.
I just watched Spotlight, the Mark Ruffalo movie.
Yeah.
Really recently.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's about the whole like Catholic priests in Boston getting like reassigned and moved all over the place. Great movie. Mm-hmm. Really good parallels to this movie, just seeing like what journalism looks like and what it looks like to kind of chase down that story. And kind of to your point, so that scene where there's all those other people in the background and he's just working the foreground and all those people are just reacting to something. There's a scene in Spotlight where basically they're working on this really big case. They're working on digging up all this evidence and 9/11 happens. And they have to stop everything they're doing, basically pump the brakes on every investigation of like the Catholic priest thing, because everyone has to start reporting on 9/11. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was what was going to happen, was some sort of big historical event comes up or because it was the 70s. I mean, there were historical events happening all the time.
Yeah.
You had JFK, his brother, Martin Luther King,
Malcolm X. There were just assassinations happening like every 2 to 5 years. Yeah.
I mean, this was a super interesting time in history.
It was.
I think historically, like this was like the end of like a 20-year stretch of really turbulent, shaped the 20th century.
Post-war.
That whole 20 years after World War II, or I guess this would be 30 years after World War II. Just like all of that era was super turbulent, shaped everything else.
Yeah.
So kind of seeing this was like the tail end of that before things kind of turned into what it is. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah.
I wish it had a better ending. I wish it was more conclusive and I wish it had been able to show instead of tell,
if it would have had like a last like newspaper
one last gotcha where you get to see people reacting to the
Robard comes in and was like, hey, You guys did good.
You guys, you nailed it. We got him.
We got him.
Yeah.
If that was the ending, that would be, man, I'd give it a 12.
I would have taken that ending over this ending.
And they all jumped at the same time in the air and it froze like it was like a cereal commercial. The milk turned blue.
And it's just Nixon's face. Just, try Nixonos. They're right. Yeah, so I give this a 9.
Maybe they'd be like little cheeseburgers. Be shaped like cheeseburgers.
You like cheeseburgers.
So you give it a 9 because the ending was like a sad dribble of cum.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been a 10 if the ending was better. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, for me, this is 10.
Fuck you.
I've always loved this movie.
I feel like it does have rewatchability.
It does.
Yeah.
You'll pick up new things all the time to appreciate about it. But yeah, Gordon Willis was a cinematographer who also, I mean, he's one of the most legendary film cinematographers to never win an Oscar. He did all the Godfather movies. You look through his list of movies he's done. It's amazing. He specializes in lower light and kind of natural lighting. And so you'll see a lot of that. And
who was the director on this?
Alan Pakula.
Okay. Didn't Redford get a directing credit on this?
He was, I believe he was a producer of this.
Okay.
So, yeah, Gordon Willis is a cinematographer and his work is amazing.
When did Robert Redford get famous?
He got famous.
The Sting?
Or no.
The wrestler?
the Sting was kind of peak Redford, so he got famous.
I still have never seen The Sting.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll have to do that sometime. That's another Best Picture winner. So he got famous. The first movie that I remember hearing that he was in was a movie called Barefoot in the Park with Jane Fonda. The first big hit he was in was Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid with Paul Newman. And then, he had a series of hits after that, and became one of the biggest stars of the 70s.
That makes sense.
But he kind of came up big about the same time Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman's in The Graduate, and that was his debut movie.
It was cool seeing a young Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. Then this was Pete Hoffman. So, and they did a similar arrangement. This was like another example of they had two big stars who gets credited first. And so I believe they put Hoffman's name above Redford's picture on the posters and vice versa, which is what they did for The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which was John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart. But they also had a similar problem, with an even bigger problem of egos with Paul Newman, Steve McQueen, The Towering Inferno. They had to give them the exact same amount of dialogue down on the words. And they had a deal where one of them could get their name first in the poster, but it had to be lower. And then the guy who was on the right had to be higher. So
interesting.
A lot of ego.
Huh. Whose name is first on the poster for the podcast?
I think mine.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Why?
God damn it.
Didn't you want the star? Front center?
I think your credit is and introducing.
I like the fact that I said the star
Featuring.
and then you immediately spoke about me. You know who it is.
You're the breakout star.
Yeah.
So
with special guest.
Yeah. Special appearance by
who was the extra Brady Bunch member that showed up later?
Oliver. I'm embarrassed at how fast I do that.
Oh, yeah, it is embarrassing.
So, we've talked about stakes in movies before and how like some movies like Frost Nixon felt like they had low stakes. So stakes couldn't be higher in this movie.
Yeah.
Where, Ben Bradley's like, there's not much riding on this except the First Amendment of the Constitution and, the future of the country and, what is that? It's like the future of the country, First Amendment of the Constitution.
The respect for journalism.
Next
freedom of the press. Yeah.
So, and then that was at the fucking end of the film. Mm-hmm. He sets the stakes and then sad dribble will come.
Well, sad little dribble will come.
That's a bad name. But yeah, it's a great movie to watch. Again, it's like it takes something that like it gives you what you need to know about the scandal. And even if you don't have interest in it, it brings you in and keeps you watching. And it shows you like how two young reporters basically dismantle the presidency and take him down. They take him on and win.
Well, they took what was supposed to be a cover up and basically prevented it from happening.
Yeah.
Right? Because they were going to leave it at just 5 dudes and then Gordon Liddy and then one other guy. That was it. That's where the buck stopped.
Yeah.
And they took it to no. Do your work. Do the FBI work because the FBI was going to keep it very focused.
Yada yada it.
They were going to yada yada it.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder how often that stuff happens, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought, is that they realized in investigating it that they had not only done it here this one time in this office area, but they had done it, 18 months before and all during it. And they only got caught. Well, there's only a movie.
They got caught.
Yeah, there's only a movie about it because they got caught. We don't know. That's like the top 10% of the iceberg. There could be another 90% of shit that we don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Where's the fucking movie about Area 51? That's what I want to know.
There's so many movies about Area 51.
No, I need the truth.
So many movies.
Wasn't there a TV show called Roswell?
I think it was called X-Files.
That too.
That's where the truth is.
Look,
Yeah.
I want alien superpowers. All right. I don't care how many of them we have to waterboard. I want those secrets.
But to your
TLDR.
point, there are a lot of good historical podcasts that go back and look at any investigations into like special counsels, any special counsel investigations that were brought in by the Justice Department into, anything that leads to like a impeachment or comes up as a part of an impeachment investigation.
Yeah.
Is very well documented. There's a lot of stuff out there. Good journalism work that looks at what the FBI does and doesn't look at.
Yeah. And that's probably like the next frontier of like that sort of, the next Woodward and Bernstein would probably be like podcasters, so.
That's us.
Yeah, but all the murder podcasters, they're the ones getting, money.
Yeah.
Well, it started with Serial. Serial was like the first really big podcast
Chocula.
that looked at, and
serial murders.
No, the podcast is called Serial.
Oh,
like SERIL.
Mm.
It was looking into a guy who was wrongly convicted for murder.
Yes.
And looking into the actual investigation and digging up a bunch of like missed pieces of the investigation. Really good podcast. If you haven't listened to it, you should.
And we can debate whether or not he was wrongly convicted. I think that's a whole nother podcast.
It's called Serial.
But yeah, All Presidents, 10 for me. It's a 9 for you guys. So that's a pretty strong endorsement from all three of us.
yes.
So if you haven't seen that,
Hefty
check it out.
9-7.
If nothing else, is for Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman's like immaculate hair.
Yeah.
Great hair.
Yeah.
Great hair.
And again, that movie where like Dustin Hoffman smokes like a house on fire
Dude, he does.
throughout the movie. It's like, good night.
Redford's like, can you not smoke in here?
Yeah.
I feel like that was a genuine read.
Do you not smoke like ever? Is there anywhere you don't smoke?
But yeah, I would recommend this movie highly. I'd recommend this wine too if you're looking for kind of a nice, lightly buttery, lightly oaky, fruit forward white wine.
Much like this podcast, lightly oaky.
Yeah. Yeah. Lightly buttery.
It's heavily buttery.
Heavily buttered.
Heavily buttered, lightly oaky.
That should be our new tagline.
Sad durable to come.
That should be our new tagline.
So yeah, another episode. Great movies. Only drunker, quite a bit drunker.
Is anybody listening anymore? Is anybody out there?
Is there anybody out there?
We do. We have a decent amount. I'll show you the numbers.
Whoever keeps commenting on our YouTube videos talking about how fat I am, fuck you.
It's me. I'm commenting.
I just made it up.
I know.
But maybe now they'll
So did I.
Maybe now they'll start.
Yeah.
All right.
Wrap it up. Sean Jordan, Travis Bud.
See ya.
My name's Todd.
Love you.
And we love you guys. We'll see you soon.
Peace.
Bye.